New for 96. With your hosts, Kevin McCauley and Chris Nguyen.
These mic sleeves, or I don't know what to call these covers.
COVID catchers?
The COVID catchers. They get real juicy sometimes from not just our takes, but...
Oh, you don't ring them out?
Yeah.
After the record?
Yeah, no, I don't. I like to let it, marinate.
Mm-hmm.
So, much like we like to marinate on thoughts about cars.
God, that was terrible.
I know.
I saw it coming.
I worked on that. I'm going to scratch that one out of my notebook here. Worked on that one for hours.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Welcome to another episode.
Are we really starting with this?
I don't know.
All of this?
We started with much worse.
I don't know. I don't know if we have.
Maybe.
We're off to a really bad start.
We're off to a horrible start.
Yeah.
Here.
This is one of those times we're going to cut out the first 10 minutes, so we can't introduce the show until we have 10 minutes of good banter.
Yeah, yeah. Is that the rhythm that we do?
Well, I mean, it'll take us 10 minutes of banter to get to something good.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe we don't get there at all. Such is the case often enough.
Yes.
So, which is where we may end up today.
Mm-hmm.
I have been watching a lot of shows.
Oh, God. This is
you
how
asked
you
for it.
start every show.
Oh, my God. See, now I have to... Now I have to
start
turn down
every show. You're like, I've been watching 56 episodes of 90210 a week.
Yeah. Well, I haven't finished 90210. I'm finding it hard to finish all 300 episodes.
All of this hard to finish.
But there's so many TV shows that take place in LA, and every show that takes place in LA has to have like an earthquake episode or two. And I'm watching two currently that are.
This is painful.
You're telling me one of them is like a really horrible show. It's called La Brea. Have you heard of it?
No.
It's like new. It's on NBC. Like NBC for dramas has been so off. I feel like there has not been anything like good. Maybe Law and Order is
still. What about Heroes?
I don't care for that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wasn't that in like 2009?
I think that was like 1986.
Yes.
And La Brea is just like one of these like formulaic dramas.
Yeah.
But the backdrop is of like a destroyed Petersen Museum.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I saw a tweet about this. This could have been handled by the tweet.
I did tweet about this, yes.
Oh, no.
My tweet, though, I didn't...
Oh, it was your tweet that I saw.
But my tweet had nothing to do with the show. I like took a GIF or a still of like the destroyed Petersen where you could see that wavy pattern in the background.
Yeah.
And it was about how I had to go number 2 there.
Oh,
and I said that they hadn't... I see they hadn't cleaned up since the last time I was at the Petersen.
Oh, yeah, we should do an episode about that.
Yeah.
I gotta say,
that happens every time I go to like a place with important cars nearby. I just get the urge.
I gotta say, the tweet was better than whatever this is.
Oh my God! Well, the tweet was better than the show. That's for sure. I watched like 2 episodes. I don't think I can continue with it. So
okay,
it's back to HBO though.
When I said we needed banter,
yes. This isn't it?
This is not...
You asked for it. You opened the door. So
okay. Well, I think it's been long enough.
Has it been long enough?
Say what it is that
the people who are going to drop off have already dropped off.
Oh,
they don't even know what this is going to be.
It will get worse.
Yeah.
I'm always telling people not to listen.
Yeah.
See, that's my guarantee.
Our listener right now, notice singular, is sitting on the edge of their seat, waiting for us to say the words out of unison.
Which words?
I'm not going to be the one to start it.
I honestly forget the words. What, like, not the name, but don't we say something like you're listening to?
I thought you I have forgotten the title of our podcast yet again.
No, we have like
That's
a leading
how invested
sentence.
You are.
Like,
yeah. Well, I guess you're listening to
an episode
of 96 that is new for amazing.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm so glad that we don't have our podcast transcribed. Like, it would be like illegible.
I'm so glad that the live audience took the day off.
Yeah. Since episode 1. So yes. we're expecting them back anytime soon.
Yeah.
So anyways, how are you?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I feel like I haven't seen you in a while, which is a lie because I saw you on Friday.
Yeah.
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 But before that, it had been days.
That's right.
I believe.
That's right. Yeah.
And you saw that I have a new doorbell.
I can't.
Kevin complains every time he comes over because my Nest doorbell had melted basically over time outside, which is funny because I've had like 3 different Wi-Fi doorbells or smart doorbells over the last 5 years, and they've all broken. So I think the thing is you're not supposed to use them outside. Mm-hmm. So if I mount it on the indoors, then it has a better chance of lasting. Mm-hmm. So I've replaced it with like the same exact model, and hopefully this time you won't complain. Also, I've been missing delivery, so I don't know which one is the more important thing.
We have like 7 topics.
Yes.
This is the most inane.
This is important.
This is not important.
People need to know. They need to know.
Okay, let's get into some substance.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
All right.
What are we starting with? Oh, I do have a note about an Acura. You know, I made some comments about Acura a couple episodes ago.
I took that note and I kicked it down several positions because...
Yeah, well, I'm moving it back up. So Brad, friend of the pod, unwilling friend of the pod, and non-listener, hopefully, for his sake and ours, he told me, in a previous episode, I just talked about how a cool strategy for Acura would be if more of the cars had the hybrid technology from the NSX, but for performance, adding a performance hybrid element to these front-wheel drive based sedans. Mm-hmm. So you have this electrified rear drive excitement. Mm-hmm. And he said, the RLX Hybrid, their biggest sedan, basically is what you describe. He says it's a lot of fun. He says it's really good. He says it uses the hybrid for that effect, bringing that NSX technology to a platform we all are in accordance with.
Yes.
So that's it. So that's pretty cool.
So 3 electric motors.
Yeah.
And it has SHAWD.
Super handling all-wheel drive.
Is that it?
Yes. Super handling all-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Car and Driver gave it a 5.
Whoa. Out of?
A 10.
Oh, of course. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, 5.
It's 5.
Nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah,
that could have been during COVID.
We didn't know. I didn't know that could have been a 5 out of 5. So we'll just,
we'll
leave
that
it
out.
to yeah. So I mean, it's something, all right.
It's something. I mean,
it costs $63,000.
Okay.
Which blows my mind.
As tested?
I don't know if that was as tested.
Okay.
I just know that's the base price.
Okay, you should probably bring your facts.
Maybe.
Next time.
For the first time ever.
Mm-hmm.
It's fast. I know that much. Here's the thing. The RLX suffers design-wise from C-class syndrome, which is that, or S-class syndrome, which is that it looks like it looks like the car was adapted from the most basest of models, of which the entire lineup is designed at.
Yes.
From.
Yeah.
And so it just looks really ungainly.
I drove one. I had a press car in 2013. It was not the hybrid. So they did a very...
Is it the same car from today?
I don't know.
Okay.
Wait, let's look this up.
Yes. While you look that up...
we could cut this out.
No, we can't do that. They must know the truth about what goes on here. So...
Okay, 2014 to 2020. So it's not currently made. And... It was the 2014 model year, so it's the same one. And when it first launched, it was front-wheel drive only.
Yes.
Which was bad.
Yeah.
It was very disappointing.
That's bad.
And the hybrid was coming, and it's like, well, we only have this one first. And it was bad because it was a very expensive front-wheel drive near full size, I guess like large mid-size luxury sedan.
It's supposed to be mid-size, so
Yeah.
like 5 Series and E-Class competitor.
And like I remember being in downtown, so you'd go over an intersection. When you go over like a crest, you know, through an intersection, you could feel the front wheel driveness. And I'm not saying in like I'm flooring it and mashing the gas. Like just you feel the wheel hop of just surface changes like that. I was like, I don't know if this is.
Here's the thing: if the thing costs like $35,000, which wouldn't make sense because they have other cars that cost that much,
right?
Then it seems like it would be a spectacular option because you do get a lot, and then you could even excuse the dual screen experience that they still had, I guess, in the final year of production. Like it looks so terrible. Like I did look up the interior, and that like. What is it called? Like the pressure sensitive touchscreen, not capacitive like an iPhone, but like the pressure sensitive, like at an ATM.
Yeah.
Like that screen looks like what like you install after, like, you know, when like a manufacturer doesn't have double DIN anymore, you just have to cut out like a rectangle with a kit to install an aftermarket like DVD navigation thing. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
So that the car costs that much.
Okay.
Maybe.
I didn't really want to spend this much time on it.
It's too late.
I just really wanted to bring up that it got 5.
Yeah. Well, it got 5.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Would a terrible combination... For some reason, this car made me think of the QX80. Like, somewhere in this world, that is probably a garage, a 2-car garage.
Yeah.
Like, someone has spent, like, over $100,000 on vehicles that are essentially like, the most forgettable cars on this earth.
What would we call, like, the 2-car suicide solution?
That might be it.
Yeah.
That might be it. So,
yes.
We've got a new segment, and this one, if it is terrible, it won't last that long. So let's experiment and see. It's called Hot Take, Quick Take, and we're just
How many of these are about TV shows?
Not many. Scratch. All right, I have one question left then.
All right.
Yeah, okay. So we're going to talk about something that is current in automotive news, and you'll have roughly 20 seconds to express an opinion about this thing, or less if it's that. I mean, this is all hateful stuff. No, some of it.
Okay.
Yeah, and I may chime in. I'm not sure if this is going to be a two-way thing yet, but we'll see. All right.
Okay.
So, first news item.
Yes.
BMW introduced a color-changing iX. What do you think of that?
I think it's a cool gimmick.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would ever want to. I don't know if I'd ever want to utilize the color change like in public, but I think it would be cool to make selections. But I think also it would be something that you would never use again, like how you can change the interior color dome lights on some cars. Yeah. And you never do it again. You set it once and forget. I think it would be that.
I would use it to...
So I thought it was cool initially, but now no. Sorry.
Yeah. No. Unfortunately, it's like built upon like a very hateful automobile. So.
Yeah, I was looking past that.
Yeah, but then what else would everything else is hateful in their lineup, so I don't know what else you would have put it on. I would use it to hide swirl marks because eventually I'm sure that would be an issue. Okay. Yaris Grimmen.
I don't know a lot about it, but I support it.
Okay. As do I. I only knew what it was by its name, that it would be some sort of like hot hatch thing, and I looked into it. It's super cool. Like it's a lightweight. Of course, we're not going to get it here, but it's basically a lightweight Yaris. So they take out
Yaris GR.
Yeah.
They take the Yaris GR and then it's the GRMN version that's better. Yeah.
And they offer like basically, you can basically add like carbon fiber bits to it, like panels rather. So like roof, hood, they delete the back seat. And I didn't read so far as into if there were engine changes, but I think it's just essentially like lightweight.
Well, that's very cool.
Yeah. So that is cool.
Support that.
Yeah. All right. Tesla Cybertruck delayed again.
I mean, I don't really care.
Wipe that shocked face off your shocked look off your face.
I don't really care, but like the discourse around dunking on this is like just both ways. The discourse is just awful.
Yeah, at this point you can't make any jokes about it because it would just be really hackney, but but this just shouldn't be a surprise. Like, and I can't imagine, and I'm sure there are still people who are sitting there still on the edge of their seat, waiting, like, well, this is fine, but it's nearly here.
Yeah.
So meanwhile, like other manufacturers have rolled out with, like things you can buy now as far as like trucks go.
Well, I mean, but like, I don't
Electric
know.
trucks, I should say.
I'm not defending the truck or anything, but I mean, the Model 3 looked like vaporware until they went out and made like 1 million of them. You know what I mean?
But the Model 3 was kind of like at least considered and designed.
Right.
And we don't have
true.
to get into it,
Yeah.
but like this has been talked to death. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, this seems like an exercise in just proving people wrong rather than like producing a good product.
That is true.
So, all right. Next topic, the Supra is going to get a manual.
Still going to be bad.
Still going to be bad. We did talk about this before when we when you had the press car and we drove it around, and the one thing we said that would make this not necessarily salvage the car, but make it better or at least introduce some sort of engagement would be a manual.
We did say that.
Yeah.
I think it would help. I think it would help you have some connection to the car, but yeah, it's not going to turn into like a driver's car.
Yeah. All right. Final headline. There's a new SL. It's the AMG SL. What do you think?
It's much better than the last one.
Yeah, that's true.
It's fine. I feel like every 3 years there's like, this is the first car that AMG is producing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, this, and it's like, haven't we done this like 5 times before?
Yes, very much so. And I like the way it looks. Maybe it's just a badge issue for me though. I like, because the SL, if they're trying to hark at heritage in any way, it being like a sporty roadster of some kind.
Yeah.
Sporty yet luxurious roadster. I don't know. Like, I feel like there's kind of a disconnect because it looks extremely aggressive and fast. And
I mean, every Mercedes has to look extremely aggressive.
I know. And that's the thing, is that I guess they already have other luxurious coupes that take the place.
And convertibles.
And convertibles. I mean, I know that SLs back in the day, there were like fast variants of, but the majority of the lineup was, you know, they were soft. They weren't GTs. They were soft cruisers, I guess. So
Yeah.
there's that disconnect. But otherwise, it's kind of a standalone idea. It looks cool. So
Yeah. But as a 911 competitor, like...
yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
So, and they already have the AMG GT for that, I would assume. So
Well, I mean, I think... Yeah, I don't know. I think they're just trying to attack all forms of it, but I think this is really to like fight the Carrera is like more usable, and the AMG GT is going after like the GT3 and the GTS and things like that. But I think this is a general 911 competitor is my take.
Yeah, I could see that. And I'm kind of curious if there will ever be a hardtop version, like an actual coupe of some kind. I guess that doesn't really make sense. I mean, the SL has always been a convertible, but maybe it's not really meant to be an SL in the classic sense.
Maybe that's the big disconnect or big separator between AMG GT.
Curious, like the sizing of it. I didn't look to see if there were dimensions released, but where it might slot in size-wise.
The last one seemed enormous.
The last one seemed enormous, but mainly in the front. It had this huge bulbous like front end. Now that one just seemed like a filler exercise. Like, we have to produce an SL.
Yeah.
And let's just mix together current design language.
Well, it was also the first aluminum one, and it was like a very weird transitional time for the design language.
Yeah.
Where it does seem like, like to what you said, like it was like the schedules didn't sync up. It's like we don't have our new design language really baked, but we have to make an SL, and also we're using aluminum stamping, and we don't really know how to stamp it.
Yeah, yeah.
We have a lot of limitations.
Yeah, exactly. And so wait, the new SL, or like for brand standards, are we supposed to refer to it as the AMG SL?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Okay.
I really don't know.
I'm not boned up on. I just wanted to use boned up on what new nomenclature for Mercedes. I only know that you're supposed to use AMG first now. I only recently learned.
I thought it was Mercedes-AMG for the ones that they produce.
I think I'm like as a standalone
like
model.
Instead of Mercedes-Benz, it's Mercedes-AMG.
I don't know. Now you're confusing me because I thought it was just like as a standalone model, like my car in its time would have been the E63 AMG, and then with the facelift, it flipped around and it's the AMG E63. But I thought that was just like if you refer to it. I hate this. This is so
Don't trust
tedious.
the B in the E63.
Yeah. So I don't know. But yeah, I'm kind of curious. So wait. So this is a soft top?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I'm glad that we're returning to soft tops, and we've maybe talked about this before, but like, thank God we're over the hard top craze, folding hard top craze, because there has never been like a good looking one. I mean, maybe there have been one or two, but
like the really small ones where it's like a 2-seat car with like a.
You're right.
That like
the
like
first one, the very first folding hardtop was a good looking car. The original SLK.
Yeah, or I mean, a lot of the mid-engine like Ferraris and stuff that have it, it's good
Maybe.
because it just looks kind of like a coupe with more segments in it.
I guess so. Yeah.
Like the Miata, like the NC
but the
Miata.
the segments are what like kill it for me.
The NC Miata.
Yeah, that was
a
a good
good
one.
one.
Yeah, you're right. You would think that size would like help with that, but the Z4 was not a good looking hardtop convertible.
I mean, it was an ugly car.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that was an ugly generation.
There was something where like it just like it didn't look like they designed the top with the bottom together.
Yeah.
It looked retrofitted.
Yeah.
And the worst award might go to, I mean, there were plenty of European market only vehicles that looked pretty terrible. Mainly like the kind of economy compacts where they like
like the car, like the sport car.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
That was good, I guess, but like there
was like
Peugeots,
at least 1,000 Peugeots that I don't know that had.
and those look terrible. But the Volvo C70.
Oh, that was good.
I didn't like that. I liked the original one with the soft top, but I hated the one that was based off of the S40.
The SL, like the turn of the century, like 2000 SL.
The first one.
No, like the 2000, the first SL with the
folding
hardtop. I thought
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was a really good looking car.
Yeah, I thought it looked better with the top down always. And the AMG or the Black Series, because that one had a black. That was the one with that was the first Black Series.
That was the first Black Series SL.
I mean,
and it had like a fixed hardtop.
Yeah, and I thought that looked good.
Okay.
It was okay. I just the segments always like kill it for me. Like I can't not see them. Unless I guess it fits a dark color, but
Yeah.
the original SLK, I mean, they designed it from the ground up to be like exactly that shape. So like those segments, those cuts always looked like they belong.
Yeah. It was also so weird because it was like that was clearly like the first generation of that idea, because like the way that the trunk was enormous and all these things.
I thought it looked proportional.
I think it's proportional. I think it looks good in like a novelty way.
Yeah.
But it is like the whole car design is sort of revolves around this roof working.
And those are cars that have not like gained like a value following, I guess, like where they have not increased in value in any form or fashion.
It always is alarming when there's a car where they made performance versions of it and people like steer clear of those.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to get one, get like the base
The
or
most based.
or the one up from base. Like do not buy like the C32 or whatever.
Yeah.
Or the SLK 32 or whatever they offered.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same with like TTs, I think.
Yes. I mean, is there actually a model to not avoid?
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I had this conversation with someone earlier about the TT, and just like trying to find like, because that first gen is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's just there's no like value justification for it. Like there's no way that you'll enjoy the amount of money that you're putting into it, that you won't get it out, basically. I feel like there's some cars where like if you put money in like to whatever level, you'll get that level of enjoyment out of it. Otherwise you wouldn't be doing it, I guess.
But don't you think it's relative? Like no matter how problematic it is, like no matter how annoying it might be, it seems like it's going to be like Mark IV Golf upkeep.
Yeah, I somehow I feel like it might be worse with certain like Audi only electronics. I don't know.
Yeah, that is a very real problem.
Yeah, and I could be very wrong
No,
here.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah,
but
the engines are the same.
compared to like like it's like compared to a Boxster or something,
Yeah.
where it's like things could get very expensive very quickly. It seems like with an Audi that is very rooted in Volkswagen parts.
That's the question. Is it like at some point in time, like, if you have to put, I don't know how much you would put into it annually to keep it up, but at some point you move into like a different class of car almost, where you might as well just buy a different car for the same amount of money that you'd be putting in.
But we're just speculating on the problems. Like, I'm saying maybe for the type of person that just buys it as a cheap, fun car, it's problematic. But compared to the problems we're used to, a TT is a breeze.
I guess that's true too. That could be very, very true. With the Boxster, it might be almost worth it. I mean, like the worst thing that could happen is the engine blows up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but beyond that,
I mean, and I think most
it's
people
a unique
have good
driving
box experience. And I'm not knocking the Boxster. I'm just saying, like, maybe our threshold for what is pain is higher than many people, and maybe for us a TT is like it's not that bad. Like, I can't think it's that bad. And I'm not knocking a Boxster, but I mean the potential for a Boxster to incur expense.
Volkswagen just has a way of just like really escalating that. Like, oh, you think like it's not that bad? Well, let me introduce you to like the W8 or like the V10
okay, but
TDI.
We're not talking about that. We're talking about a Mark IV Golf with a beautiful body.
Yeah. I don't know. I remember, I mean, this is, again, it is probably relative, but like years and years ago when I was thinking about getting a GTI, this coming from the Protege, actually. So right after college, like I was looking at like post-college
Mark
cars. That would have been probably Mark V,
yeah.
Here's the thing, though. I do like that the pain threshold increases, though, with the more problematic the car, because after the E63, the Pool, and we don't have to get into it now, although we can, you roll your eyes every time. But because it's already time, it's not already time. I'm going to keep the E63 for a while, asterisk, probably.
Okay.
But I have been like eyeballing other things, and it's all relative because there are certain things that are extremely annoying with this car that could go wrong. And so I'll escalate that, and I wonder if like a Cayenne GTS. I mean, how bad could that be? The forums say a lot, but it's all relative. So I don't know. But the pain threshold, like years ago, if you'd ever said I would consider like a Cayenne of any kind, like I would have called you a fool, for thinking that I would consider such a thing. But now it doesn't seem so bad. So
there you go.
We'll see.
Yeah.
All right. So speaking of problematic cars, you jotted down and double underlined the Defender V8.
Yes. Well, so we were talking about this offline a couple weeks ago over a whisk, and you were kind of incredulous that the Defender, so a Defender, like say you take the short wheelbase Defender, like the base one is like $52,000.
Yeah.
And the V8 starts at $104,000.
Yes.
And like, yeah, it has like beefier brakes and stuff, but it's not. They didn't fully go through it and change everything. You were getting like 95% of the same car, aside from the engine.
Yeah.
And this didn't seem that crazy to me. But you were very upset about that. Not upset. I'm giving you a hard time. But this is like the V8 is not just a engine upgrade like a GS300 versus a GS400 in very topical 23-year-old Lexus references. It is like the prestige thing where it's like this is the AMG, like the AMG G-Wagon type of thing.
That's okay.
Well, but I mean, you made a point that was good, that like, this seems like the least variation from the normal one to the prestige model. Like they changed the engine. It even has the same like very bad wheels.
Yeah.
So you were trying to think of like, are there other things where it's this similar, where it's like, I mean, this is like, it all seems normal to me.
Yeah.
Because I just see this as like, this is the fuck you money version. This is just like, I have to have the best one, and the price is like clearly not what it costs, but what you're paying for the exclusivity.
Asterisk to that is that the Defender, I feel like, while it's not necessarily niche, it is lesser known, I guess. And so AMG is like part vanity. Like the badge is now, you buy it partly for the badge, I suppose, like a brand new one, and the
I didn't
quad
know there was
exhaust.
any other reason.
Yeah, well, and with the Defender V8, you do get a V8 badge and you get quad exhausts, but that is it visually. It's not any wider. It doesn't like.
Yeah.
There's just no visual cues, I guess, that you've gone and spent a lot of money on a car with compromises, but we don't have to go into those again. So it's curious. I mean, in many, many years when they have depreciated and after we're out of this like weird used car market, they could be a cool buy if they're not like terrible to own. I mean, relatively speaking. So yeah, it didn't make sense to me. And the inline six is really good. So the V8, if it's not for showing off, then I'm not sure what it is for.
Yeah, so it should be more showy or
Yeah,
something.
and
I tried to come up with other examples where there was a price differential like this, and you look at like the 5 Series versus the M5, but it's like they've re-engineered that car completely, whereas this is wider. This is just not very different.
It's not very different. It really is just like, just give me the most expensive one in the dealership, and then that's what, I mean, you have to order them, but otherwise, and they're not for, it's not for like off-roading.
Yeah.
Because they're all spec'd with like enormous wheels with low profile tires.
They're bad wheel design. Like all of the Defender wheels, they're all very bad.
They're all very bad.
So I did think of something that is comparable.
Okay.
Not current.
Yes.
And of course it's Porsche related. I was listening to the Smith and Sniff podcast last week. They were talking about like the slant nose 930 was a 30,000 pound option over the 930.
Wow.
Like it was just gratuitous. Just fuck you.
Yeah.
This is how much it costs, and you're paying for the fenders. Like it was not. There was no other change. It was just like the most expensive one. It was. I mean, I'm not trying to explain it or justify or convince the listeners or you of why it was worth it or justified or why it's cool because of this. I'm just repeating the facts as they were stated, which I have heard this, and it jogged my memory to hear this, and I was thinking like that is kind of the same. And then I went down this train of thought of thinking about the slant nose. So I'm off the Defender now. That was just connecting the two. But the slant nose 930 is so interesting because I am, like, my whole life I've always seen the slant nose as like very dorky looking.
Yeah.
And I
would agree it's not the most attractive vehicle.
Like I get the reference to the race cars. I think the 935 is one of the coolest looking cars, but it doesn't look like a 935.
It's too short.
It's too short. It's too skinny. It's just different. And then the pop up headlights, break that unbroken front. It doesn't work. It's just it's very odd.
That would have been so extreme and opulent looking. Like, I think opulent would be the right word because it's a sports car, but it's so opulent because like someone had to have spent a tremendous amount of money to get what was already an expensive car, an exclusive, and make it even more exclusive.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's hard for me to even like understand. Like, I think that is a true generation divide. Yeah. Where if you lived through that era and you knew about that, like you even if you hated it, like you couldn't help but think it's cool or impressive if you knew like how much it cost, or you knew how exclusive it was, or if you were very aware in the culture that was aware of how special and niche and upmarket this one specific car was. Yeah. Whereas like we didn't grow up in that, so you just see it as like the bad ripoffs, and this is the dorkiest one. Yeah. Like, and I don't hate it, and I don't think it's dorky. But just compared to a 930, I don't like it as much.
I would agree. Yeah. I do like, I've always thought it was exotic looking, even if nothing else. And even thinking that before I was really familiar with G models in general. Like, I remember seeing pictures, or even seeing one in the street here in Houston.
And there's a lot of conversions and stuff.
That's the thing. I didn't know if it was a real one, but I do remember thinking this is really exotic. Like, if it's a real one. Yeah. And not thinking that it was attractive looking necessarily, but it was special. So there is that. But beyond that, I would agree with you.
Yeah. So it's like, it's hard for me to wrap my head around how cool it must have been in like 1986 to have that car, and
Yeah.
for me to like just not, it just goes over my head.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was that.
Yeah, that was definitely of era. As far as like someone, I'm sure there was a time where like you would look at that, like if we were living in that era as adults, we probably would have looked at that as like such a cool and attractive thing.
Absolutely.
Because everything, like, I mean, because the 911 was old then, as far as the design went, and everything else was just like sloped and wedgy, and this was like merging like a Ferrari wedge with a 911, even though it was inspired more by the race cars than by its competitors, I suppose. But yeah, I think we would have had different eyes.
I think so. Yeah, I think
then.
if we were 5 to 10 years older, we would see it completely different, which I think is fascinating. It's
Yeah.
hard to recreate that.
Yeah,
The
that wonder.
moment.
Yeah,
That wonder. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We've seen too much. We know too much.
That's right.
So,
Yeah.
which no one has ever said of us ever.
So, should we do the annual New for 96 awards?
Yes, first ever.
First ever annual New for 96 awards.
It is.
For 2021. We're recording this in March 2022. So we devised a few categories, nothing formal. Well, aside from these envelopes that I've prepared, of just, our best and worst of the past year. It was just as it relates to us, of course.
Yeah.
Not the larger world of cars, just us specifically, our things we did.
Yes.
So what were those categories, and what do we think?
Car of the year.
Car of the year.
What was the most memorable car that you drove all this year?
Oh, can we skip this one?
No.
All right.
You wrote these questions.
Did I?
I'm holding you to them.
All right.
Pick N.
The most memorable car of the year was that 997 GT3 that I talked about on the last pod. Like, that was just the most amazing.
Yeah.
Just it combines like the specialness of the 996 GT3 with the like pointiness of the 991. But it's lighter, the size, and it's got the cool tail.
Yeah.
Like, it's just it was perfect for me.
I think I'm gonna go in the opposite direction and say that one of my favorite cars I've driven this year or last year was the Lancia Fulvia.
Oh yeah.
Our friend Tom's blue Lancia Fulvia, and there was not a car that I got in and like immediately just fell in love with it before I even turned it on.
Yeah.
And because other cars, like even fast cars or other cars that I would just like admire from afar, when I finally would drive it, I would still kind of have to figure it out and feel for it and grow to learn why it's supposed to be good. In this car, it didn't need to necessarily be like good. It was so charming.
Yeah.
And it was good to drive like in a very slow car fast way.
Well, it was dogleg. So
was
for you to say that
too.
you didn't have to really figure it out or anything.
I did have to figure it out a little bit, yeah.
Well, I mean, it kind of just, you stuck it in gear and went and just put your foot down.
You just
and
rev it out.
Went. Yeah.
And like you were not keeping up with traffic, but like it like put us, you couldn't, at the time you couldn't tell because I had a mask on my face, but it was just so charming. I like immediately got why this car was good.
Yeah.
And we'd only driven it like a block at that point.
Yes.
But yeah, so that's my pick.
Okay. I think I put the drive of the year.
Yes.
So I think the 718 on Angela's Crest, like, it's hard to beat that road, and that car was a really good chassis, and we enjoyed it. That was pretty hard to beat. Just like a nice reminder of those amazing roads.
Yeah.
But also good. Lime Creek Road in my 911 was nice. That was a lot of fun.
I did not join you on that one. I'd have to agree with the Angela's Crest drive just because it was also the first not post-pandemic, but it was when we finally like got out of the city. We'd left the city before that, I guess, but this was, I don't know, it felt like the most far removed from like all the woes of years passed, a couple of years passed, and it was just like, it was nice. It was really invigorating. I don't know how to like take those roads in a car like that too. Like that was a really good car for that particular like section of road.
Yeah.
So that's also my pick. All right.
Well,
SUV truck of the year.
truck of the year, I'm going to say M3 Baru.
Okay. Wow. Really pushing the definition of truck.
Yeah, well, it traveled off-road more than most F-150s in the city of Houston.
Wow. Okay. My truck of the year, my 100 series. Okay, next.
God damn it.
Sedan of the year.
The Polestar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Polestar was good. Ooh, I have to ruminate about that because I didn't actually think about what sedans I have driven this year.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah. This is why sedans are going away. We don't remember.
We can include wagons in there.
Yeah. I've only driven my wagon this year, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So, since the Polestar is the only one I can remember, I'll say the Polestar as well.
Wow.
I know.
Did we have worst? What other awards were on? Oh, wait, what? So, okay, I'm looking at my notes and not... sorry.
Dear God.
All right. Worst car truck of the year.
Okay. Worst car or truck of the year. Good cue. You go first.
I'm going to say your 100 series.
Wow, I knew you were going to say that.
No.
Even though it saved our lives.
I know. I got to say it's that Corolla Apex.
Wow.
The
Okay,
ride
actually, I
was
would believe
so
you.
bad. The ride was so bad. And
Yeah.
I like the normal Corolla.
Yeah. Okay, I would believe you on that just because that seems to be also what basically everyone's in total agreement about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to say with actually not much nuance needed, it might be the Supra.
That was up there for me.
Because I was not hoping to like it then, but when it was released, much like everyone else.
Oh, yeah.
I had such high hopes for it, and I I was waiting to fall in love with it, and then people started opining about it, and then I got to drive it myself, and I gotta say, it lives up to whatever the opposite of hype is.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
unfortunately,
Yes.
could not love that. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna rewind the tape a little bit. Sedan of the year. I'm gonna give this to my now long gone Toyota Celsior.
Oh, yeah.
So, in memory of my Celsior, I will rate that.
R.I.P.
And also we did drive. Oh, did we drive Tom's W140?
No.
We did not. We rode in it.
Yes.
Okay, so that doesn't count.
No.
All right, so it goes to my Celsior.
Good.
Sticking to the rules here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and shall we say this in unison? Worst podcast co-host of the year. I'm going to say
choose
you. Wow.
Better and worse than I
know.
hoped it would
Wow.
be.
We really also just redlined the audio on that one. So, dear God.
So speaking of cars,
Yes. Cars,
that
you
we've
say?
driven, we drove. Tom let us drive his GT3
Yeah.
996.
996.
And we recorded a little bit of audio, which you can hear now. Should we play it now?
Oh, are you actually going to play it?
No, I'm not
going
going
to insert it.
We'll insert it. Okay, so we're recording. So we are in a 996 GT3. Chris is driving a GT3 for the first time.
It is true.
Yeah.
Honestly, I couldn't pick a better GT3 to start with.
Debatable.
I'm gonna move up the ladder.
As someone who has sampled all of them,
Yes.
I had initially the first one I drove.
Brag much?
I'm not saying I've lost count because I do keep a log. Anyway,
He actually does. He has a spreadsheet.
I could post it. So we are in a 2004 911 GT3.
Arctic Silver over
Yes.
black.
What do you think?
Well, I've only just started rolling, so
Yes.
Clutch is heavy, but in a nice way. Shifter is actually, that's decent. It feels like a normal 996 actually shifter, but I haven't moved it much. Sounds good.
Sounds good. It's very gruff.
Steering is nice. The interior, I love the GT3 center console delete.
It's very good.
It's weird, but it kind of transforms the interior. I'm like pro this modification even on just like C2s.
Yeah, it's nice because it's like a nice, like well-finished carpet behind there.
Yeah.
Like just sort of like a truncated tunnel carpet situation.
It is neat though, like just seeing the wing in the back and the roll bar. Like, because everything feels familiar in 996, but like with just these slight differences.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've driven a 996 also. So this is the one to drive.
Yeah. But so far I'm noticing even at low speed, like there's just a little bit of drama, which is kind of nice. Versus like in a C2, where you really kind of have to get moving before.
I feel that this car is really like kind of gruff and grumpy at low RPM. Like
Yeah.
it's really
It is, yeah.
it's like kind of manic. Like it kind of gives it this race car thing, which the 997 GT3 isn't really like that.
No. Yeah, it's like nice and smooth for city driving, I suppose. But yeah, this I noticed like when you're just getting off of the clutch. There's like a
The
little
pedals
bit of
are so
graininess.
stiff too. Like it's
Yeah.
hard to be. It's hard to be. It's hard. It doesn't feel natural almost how stiff the gas is. Yeah, it is also like not that we can turn because we're in Houston, but it is like insane. Like these tires are so much stickier than whatever would have come on it because
Yeah.
these are like PS4s or something.
Yeah.
So you feel the adhesion. Like the front end moves and turns really nice, but you can feel how sticky the tires are.
Yeah. It's also surprisingly easy to drive. Like, clutch feels really nice. I can get off the line without over revving or slipping the clutch much to get it going.
The 996 is pretty in a different way from almost any other 911, especially the GT3. It's just so long and sleek and like pointed at the ends, like
Yeah.
pinched at the ends, and it's a cool look.
Yeah, it's very like sleek and slim in a way that cars aren't like today. The steering is really nice. That sounds so good.
Yeah, a lot of character.
Yeah.
So does it live up to the hype of the GT3? This first iteration, well, second iteration since the
.1.
.2.
Yeah. I mean, it feels special. I'll say that. I mean, like, I'm only going legal street speeds at the moment. Took it on a slight bit of curvy road just then. So I'm just kind of getting a hint of what the car can do. But it immediately feels special. Like, it gives you like so much character. Like the engine sounds, the inputs, like just everything. But just even on the road, yeah, the feedback is so much different from a 996 C2, just in that it's just less isolated, which makes sense.
This really feels like kind of the bridge between like a modern 911 and an air-cooled.
Yes. Which is why, just in general, I think the 996 is starting to be looked at as a modern classic.
Well, we will continue this discussion on studio.
96.
New on this episode of New for 99.6.
996. I was about to do my fake reaction like we had just listened to it.
Let's do that.
Okay.
But include this also.
We'll also include... Well, wow, Kevin. I actually don't remember what I said.
I don't either.
Because it was really hard to drive and talk. So
It's a hard thing to do.
I applaud people who do that professionally.
It's really hard.
Because you were asking me questions along the way, as you all just heard. And as I'm like zipping through busy city streets at legal speed limits, of course, I was slightly trying to give opinions about the experiences that I was having at the moment, and I guess I'll reflect on them now.
Please.
Yeah. I thought the car was good. And here's the thing. Yeah, I had like, going into it, I was already excited to drive it, and it was the first GT3 that I had driven. And
I covered that.
Oh, yes, that's right. You did cover that.
I did point that out
I'm
multiple times.
recapping here. So,
I think I also gave a countdown of how many GT3s I have driven. That's probably on the tape.
All right, whatever. Anyways, but this would have been like this. Honestly, I was excited to drive this in particular. It was the first GT3 that we got here in the United States.
Yes.
And there's just something very different about this one, and obviously not comparing by experience, which you can do. Like, it was unique in a way, because it was not like as hardcore as GT3s to come.
Yes. Yeah.
And I mean, this is also probably just a product of it being a 996, and it felt familiar in a way, but it was more direct, and it just felt, it had an analogness about it that was just really refreshing. And again, it's probably because like it's been a while since I've driven like that kind of transitional type vehicle. Like, I mean, it was coming from like basically just that model in particular was a nice analog / modern car transition. So I don't know, it seemed, and Tom described it this way as well, and it was really easy to extrapolate the same thing, was that it's easy to drive it in the city, surprisingly, and to have fun and not like exceed the law too much.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. I mean, it was a very short, like 10-ish minute drive.
Yeah.
But from that,
on the finest roads Houston has to offer, which is to say terrible.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I thought it was surprisingly compliant for.
It's very compliant, yeah.
For like a car that's set up as it is. So, and I don't know if my mind would change with more time spent with it, but I liked it. It was an interesting drive. So, interesting car. What were your takes? You've driven a couple. Why don't you list them again as you've done
I will not
5 or 6 times to me?
I will put that in the notes.
5
or 6 times to you. Yeah, like the GT3. So I first drove one years ago, and it blew my mind because it was just the throttle, like how hard you have to push the throttle, like how sprung it seems, like how precise that seems. When you get on it in third gear or something, like you can see the nose like lift with the power. It's so raw in ways that there's like a simulated, there's almost like a simulated rawness in newer ones, but this one is like, it is this. It's rowdy, very car that is vibrating. It's very vibrating. There's a lot of like
in a good way
engine heat shielding noise and stuff like that. And
I was and that's the thing we were discussing that whether that was like an intentional part of the experience or like if there was like a loose piece of heat shield somewhere. But that's just it though. Like the engine sounds are just so much more present, and that's probably due to. I'm sure there's like less insulation and engine sound padding and whatnot, but like the engine is just like, it feels so much more right behind you than in like a regular 996.
Well, and the engine is, I mean, I've not felt like that in another modern 911.
Yeah.
Where it feels like an air-cooled, where it's this like temperamental thing. Like it does not want to do certain things. Like it's really grumpy. It's low RPMs. And when you start it, when it's cold, when you start it cold, it's like very loud.
Yeah.
For the first like minute and a half, and
Yeah.
then it calms down. It's so weird. Like it's like this is not like a modern engine. I just think that's really fascinating. It is like it came off of the race car transporter.
Yeah.
And they put a number plate on
And that's
it.
what's cool about it. It's like that's just that. Like I can't describe it in any other way other than that. Like it seems like a transition from like the air cooleds to like the modern cars. And I like taking 996 out of like the modern equation. It's just kind of like it's a little bit classic and it's a little bit modern, but it's not quite one or the other.
It's interesting because you look at how the newer models got racier, more precise, more like sharper steering rack. More precise, like, less sound insulation, things like that. But this one is racier in these ways where it feels very, very raw in some ways. And I find that interesting. It's like it is softer. It doesn't have the like razor sharp turn in like later ones.
Yeah.
But it is racier in that this engine is so rowdy.
Yeah.
And it just seems like unhappy to be
Yeah.
doing certain things and, driving at 25 RPM, 100 RPM or something.
Yeah. And I'm curious too because this one has no driver aid, so no traction, no TCS of any sort. And I assume like taking this on a track at speed, like you really have to work for it. And Tom has not taken this one to the track yet, right?
No, I don't think so.
So I'm curious, like if and when he does, what, like if it would be like a more rewarding experience in a way, just because you can't go as fast as like he has a 992 GT3.
Yeah.
And that's just it's a spaceship. It is just out of this world. Mm-hmm. And compared to that, like working this one on a track, I wonder if like it would be more rewarding in a way or less. I don't know. So I lean towards it seems like it would be more rewarding.
When your brain is used to 991 and 992 speeds, if this is like slow car fast, I wonder. I really don't know.
I don't know because like the thing is that like I don't know if the fear basically is rewarding or not because like you're the only thing that like can save you when you're going if you're really like going at it. So I don't know. Anyways, I liked it. It was an interesting experience. It was a very different experience. So I will say cool car. Good car. Yeah. So you are about to embark on another road trip.
Yeah.
TFTI, by the way.
Well, Daniel Sloan and I are going to drive in the M3 Baru.
Yeah.
Back to Portland.
Just driven down here from Portland.
Yes.
So Portland to Texas. He's in Austin right now.
Yeah. So
okay.
We're going to leave this week. He's going to turn right around and drive back to Portland. Yep. We're going to go to Big Bend and a couple of places along the way.
Yeah.
The first road trip we ever did in the convertible was we went to like Death Valley and then up the eastern side of California. And I think that was like the most beautiful place I've ever been, probably.
Yeah.
That eastern side of the Sierras. And so I really wanted to go back there. So hopefully the roads are open and not snowed in and everything, and we can make this happen.
But you have the car for it.
Well, we do.
Should it snow?
Should it snow? Yes.
Yeah. And if listeners need a refresher on what the M3 Baru is.
Oh, yes.
There is a video on Kevin's YouTube.
Yes.
About Daniel Sloan's E46 M3 converted wagon.
All-wheel drive.
XI.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's pretty cool. Good video.
Oh, thank you.
Did it do well on the YouTubes?
Yeah.
People liked it?
Yeah, people liked it.
I downliked it. But just to really keep your head in check. So,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, of
Always
course.
looking out for me.
All right. So I think...
Sorry, I'm looking in horror. I just looked up one of the cars.
We're supposed to look at it together. We can look at in horror together.
All right, fine. So what are we doing? This is Fuch, Marry, Kill, where we pick a car for each other.
Fuch, Marry, Kill, 1987, where we pick 3 cars for each other that came out in 1987, and
it's for drive once, daily it,
the F,
which is marry,
yes,
is to daily drive it, and kill is to send it to the crusher.
The K, if you will.
If you will.
Yeah.
And we shall.
All right. So why don't we go through the entire list first?
Sure.
Okay. So the Alpha 164
Yep.
was fine. It was like all over Europe and here, I guess. It was here for like a brief period of
The
time.
racing, no, it had a sexy V6, and the racing version was insane.
Yeah, here's the thing. Like, it had a really cool interior. I think though this is one of those like cars that was like used as a taxi everywhere else.
I was going to say best remembered.
Yeah, best remembered, if you will.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Next car, Alpina B3. That's
V3.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. E34 came out
We all know I love those.
in 87, maybe in Europe. I think it was 88 here.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. Don't know what the Bose Eurostar BOHSE. We're not going to click on that because it's
I
not
think,
going to.
I think we've spent
All
enough
right,
time
we're
on it. We
clicking on
have to
it.
click. Oh, there's
not
no
even an
picture.
image because please tell me it was an Eastern European thing because it sounds like it. It was a German car produced by Bose Automobile, and the Eurostar is probably not related to the Aerostar. Aha! Boy, that's something. It's like a Baja, but if it was worse.
It looks like a God. What's the like Italian SUV?
The Lada?
No,
Because it's based off of a Lada,
Okay.
which is not Italian.
No, I know. What's the Italian SUV that had like a Ford motor? That's next to your parking your unit.
Oh dear.
La Forza.
It was a La Forza.
It looks like a La Forza golf cart.
It
It
does
looks
look
like
like
a
that.
golf cart was styled to look like a
It
La
does look
Forza.
like that. It has okay, so it's open door.
It's open door.
It's open door with a truck bed,
Yeah.
and you're just going to have to Google this for yourselves as this is a radio medium. So,
Yes. Yeah. Good bit.
all right.
Okay.
The Cadillac Brougham. And this was this was
yep.
still during the big years.
That's it.
Oh no, I guess this was
As seen in Goodfellas when
Yeah.
people died in it.
the Chevy Beretta.
Yep.
Which like I really thought it was a wait, was this actually named after the gun?
I'm
thought
not
that was the
saying
lore.
no. I'm not saying no.
Okay, the Chevy Corsica.
Was that
That was like the mid-size
Was it the sporty Beretta?
No, it was the four-door. I'm pretty sure.
was the Beretta a coupe?
Yeah, the Beretta was a coupe.
Oh God.
Yeah, so this was the Corsica. Basically, this was like the
Grand Am.
yeah, I think it was part of the Grand Am. This was the Beretta. Look at that.
Okay, so it was a Corsica coupe.
Yes. It was
Okay.
I'm sure it was based on the same platform.
Z26.
Z26. This
Wow.
was sought after. It may
Was it?
still be on Bring a Trailer.
You really
Uh,
will need a trailer.
I know, but the normal one was very
Dumpy.
less good. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Well, if that's the GT, what the hell was the sought after one?
the Z26.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I already forgot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Dacia 1320. Dodge Dynasty, probably
Ooh.
forgettable.
Yeah.
Eagle Medallion. Okay, I've told this bit on here, but
Yes.
I'm going to talk about Eagles for a second. Because when
Yes.
I was a kid, all I knew was the Eagle Talon and the Eagle Vision. And so I really thought that all Eagle cars had to have names of attributes of Eagles.
Yeah.
And I was very disappointed when they had other names that were non.
Like the Eagle
Eagle.
AMC Pacer.
Yeah.
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 Well, I would have believed it otherwise. Oh, this is also known as the Renault Medallion. Man, can you imagine like being in Europe and having all of those cool cars over there and this being like the exotic import?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. This looks terrible.
You know, like the Dodge Intrepid was still like based on this.
Jesus,
like the
really?
Dodge Intrepid was like a radical design. It was still related to that. In the Premiere,
I remember this was Intrepid. This was the Premier was the Intrepid.
was it?
Yeah. Not that. Not
Well, because the Eagle Premier, like, or one of whatever the Intrepid was based on was like the Renault underpinning leftovers from
Yeah.
AMC and stuff.
Wow. Okay, wait. I thought the Premier was maybe it was the Vision.
I don't know.
I don't know. Anyways, it doesn't matter.
But do you know the Vision? There was an Intrepid that was Premier related. Like there
yeah,
was a,
that's
but,
the one I'm
but
talking about. I
one
remember
of
that one.
these, One of these was like the Intrepid got these underpinnings. Like the Intrepid had a
I
lot
thought
of
the Intrepid would have
leftover
been
stuff.
would have been like the source, the fountainhead of all of these terrible cars.
These were the fountainhead because the Intrepid was not as all new cab forward as you may have been led to believe.
With auto stick?
And then also
Yes.
in the 300M was supposed to be an Eagle.
No, really?
Absolutely.
Wow.
It was supposed to be an Eagle, and then the brand was killed right before, and so they're like,
Oh my
and that's
God.
why the Chrysler lineup had like these 3 giant sedans that all overlapped and were the same.
I'm not gonna lie. As a kid, I even wondered why like the LHS and the 300M and what was the other one?
You
LHS,
said LHS.
yeah.
Concorde.
Yeah, they were all the same size.
I was pretty jazzed about those. when they
So
came
at
out.
at a rental counter, what is the upgrade? They're all the same. Hard to say. All right.
Bonneville.
Ooh, the Ferrari F40.
Oh, that's too good for us to pick.
I know. So 4th gen Civic.
That's probably the EG that we were talking about with
Yeah.
the fold-down hatch.
Yeah.
No, it is not.
Oh no, wait. No, hang on. This is the Wikipedia one that always shows the oldest or
No,
something.
it's a 4th gen.
Oh, it
It's a
is. Oh yeah, you're
Wikipedia
right.
4th
Oh
gen.
yeah, so this was it was the Moxie one. So this is right before.
Right before this
it
is
went
very
roundy.
CRX looking.
Yeah. All right. Kia Concorde. I don't think we got that, did we?
We were just talking about the Concorde.
We were. I don't think we
No.
got this one. We could be wrong, but does not matter. Kia
I
Pride.
think the Sophia was the first U.S. Kia.
That might be true. The Kia Pride.
That looks like an Aspire.
It does look like an Aspire. I have a GIF of the Kia Pride actually for some reason. I have like my folder of GIFs. I have many things that for all occasions. Okay, the Mazda attitude. No, it's just attitude. You have to say it like that. Okay.
We've never seen this before.
We have to explain this and we'll post it, I think, on the Instagram, maybe Twitter. So the Wikipedia entry for the Mazda Etude, because it has an accent aigu, is a junkyard photo of it on blocks with the hood up. So that is the flagship photo of the Mazda Etude. We don't know what this is. Oh, this belonged to the 323. It was like the hatchback. It was like the 4-door hatchback? I don't even know.
Most of the car is blocked by the hood being up in the photo.
Okay. It was somehow 323 related.
Then we got the MX-6, the first gen.
Yep.
Mercury Tracer.
Wow. Okay.
Mercur Scorpio.
How is the Mercury Tracer? So this was introduced. I was gonna say, why wasn't the Ford Escort mentioned? But I guess this was.
There's probably a year
when-
lag.
yeah,
Same way there's
or
not a Ford Probe.
This was the first Mercury Tracer, so this is the first time they rebranded the Escort as a
Oh.
Mercury.
Yes. Well, I'm
And-
going to assume. I don't know when the Probe was. Did the MX-6 predate the Probe? It might have.
It might have. So does that mean that it's more Mazda than it is?
Well, that's showing the second gen. But yeah,
Well,
it is
babe.
more Mazda.
I guess so. Okay. Then we have the Mercur Scorpio, German
Do we know
branded Ford. Yeah, this was
Okay.
the Mercur that we got here. This was the Capri,
The
wasn't
Alpha
it?
164 of its day.
Yeah. This was the Capri, I thought. Oh no, this was the Scorpio. It was literally the Ford Scorpio. No, the other one was the Capri.
We're very well versed on
Yeah.
those 1987 Fords
Yeah.
and Mercurs.
The Nissan B1, super cool car. This was the retro-styled hatchback.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which Nissan was on such a good roll back then with their like retro-styled cars.
Yeah.
And I forget the designer's name, but he did like several things. It does say here somewhere, and he did like he was an industrial designer who designed furniture, I believe. But
Pike cars.
yeah, that was the design
Phil
studio.
Patton.
Yeah, so that was a design studio that designed like the Figaro and the other kind of styled cars. Huh. I did.
Oldsmobile touring sedan.
That
It's
doesn't
like they forgot to name it.
They forgot to. It's literally called the Oldsmobile Touring Sedan. It's not the 88. It's not the.
Could have been the 88. This was 87 though.
It wasn't the 87.
Yeah.
Whatever else they had. Oh wait, it was also called the 98.
Ugh, this is exhausting.
Yeah, Kevin has been on like a tear about like the Olds 88 for some reason. Like literally. Okay. The Peugeot 405, which was like the iconic. No, it wasn't. No, this is the. No, we did not get this. Roof CTR.
Good
All
car.
familiar. Shelby CSX, Shelby GLHS. Don't know what those are.
I knew someone in high school that had a Shelby. I think it was this one.
Oh, yeah,
wait.
right. These.
No, it was. I think it was lamer than this one.
It was based off of the Omni.
No, it was not this.
Didn't someone
He
sell
had
one of
this.
these recently on like an auction site? I thought.
Probably. I knew someone in high school that had this Shelby
Oh, yeah.
CSX. It was like a little weird
I
notchback thing.
forgot that
And
these
he
were.
installed a stereo for me in my car.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He was very good, like electrical
Wow,
person.
that was actually surprisingly fast for its time.
It was fast, yeah.
Yeah, 0 to 60 in 6.8 seconds. Terrible looking thing. All right, so next up, let's go to favorite. We don't know what that is. The E90 Corolla.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is the right before it also got roundy, so slightly boxy. The 440 was an interesting car. It was like the least looking Volvo.
That does not look like a Volvo.
Yeah, and I actually forget what it is based off of, but it was not like. I don't think. Let's see. It was. I was going to say born in the Netherlands, but it's literally a factory in Born, the Netherlands. Yeah. So obviously we did not get this thing, and it is pretty terrible looking.
And then the Yugo, Florida.
Yugo, Florida. Because if you name it after the worst place in the United States.
This looks like that other Volvo.
Yeah, it does look like yeah, it does look like it. It is terrible looking.
Yeah.
We also did not get this.
It really does look like a Volvo, though.
Yeah. Okay. That was actually a pretty.
That's a good
We
year.
spent some extra time.
We spent some extra time, yeah.
Going
but
through this one, because this was 87 was an interesting and also terrible year.
yeah.
I always think 87 because my dumb mind is always fixated on just one thing ever. 87 for me is always like it's the G50 year.
Oh, yeah.
I always think G50.
It can only be one thing.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to pick for you. I'm ready.
All right, fine.
All right. Thinking.
Oh no.
Oh, yes. Chevrolet Corsica. Mercur. No.
Wow.
Peugeot 406.
Keeping it real thematic.
And the Mazda attitude.
Well, so long as we're keeping it classy. Wow. Okay. Oh, boy. Can we assign them all to one? If I wanted to.
Yes, you could. You could.
No, I won't do that.
You could.
We'll make this fair.
Okay.
The Corsica is. Well, the Peugeot 405 is the most exotic of this bunch, and it literally just looks like a generic car from the 80s. But it's the most exotic, so I'm gonna, Fuch that one.
I would do the same.
Yeah, and I'm going to kill the Mazda because it's already dead according to the Wikipedia page. As it's already on blocks. And I guess that means I'm marrying like America's sweetheart rental car, the Chevrolet Corsica.
Wow.
Yeah.
You went there.
Boy, that was a tough one. I'm going to go with the Oldsmobile Touring Sedan since I know you are down this mental path right now.
Yeah. That's right.
I'm going to give you also the Volvo 440, 460 and the Bose Eurostar. And we don't know really still understand. We don't understand what the hell that is.
It's a golf cart, I think. I'm going to say Fuch the Bose. I
It
guess.
is exotic.
I'm gonna Fuch the Oldsmobile and marry the Volvo and kill the Bullseye.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Shocking results, but you heard it here first. And there you have it. I'm surprised that you... No, actually, it makes sense to Fuch the touring sedan because I think this is a special one somehow.
Yeah.
Look, it's to compete with European import offerings. Can
How'd
you
that
imagine?
go?
Yeah. So this was it was a 90th anniversary Oldsmobile.
Wow.
That's why it is what it is. And it even
and
has
to think
it has 911 SC fog lamps.
and to think they only had 10 years left.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed.
Like they didn't make it to 100 years, did they? Or like when was it discontinued? Was it after? Was it like 01? Oldsmobile ended?
No, it was much later than 01 because I remember
Was it 04?
it was 04 because I remember the
Okay.
Aurora went to at least until then.
Yeah, I forgot that the Aurora had a second gen. I think a lot of
It
people
had
do.
yeah, it was terrible. The second gen was such a like travesty
Mm-hmm.
as far as like the Aurora heritage, so meaning like two
One-
generations. Yeah.
One generation before
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
But that first one was so spaceship cool.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, all right.
Yes. Well,
Successful FMK.
good idea.
Well, I think that also is a pod.
Wow.
So thanks for listening. Do follow us on Instagram at New496. Email us if you must.
New for 96
At
spelled out.
gmail.com.
Gmail. Yeah.
And there's also a Twitter. But anyways,
Yeah.
all right.
Remember to not rate, not subscribe, and also don't listen.
Yes. Wait. All right. I'll stick with that.
Okay.
All right. All right. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.